Hello, 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 my lovelies. So excited to be making a video after such a long hiatus. This is going to be a video response to Miss Shy. She had an excellent question that she left on a video a while ago. So the answer to your question straight away is yes, locks are absolutely permissible. Now, if anybody wants to stick around and hear me get chatty and give details and my reasoning, then go grab you some snacks, because girls, this is probably going to be a long one, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, my lovelies, so here we go. I am going to put her comment right here on the video so you can read it for yourself, and I will also link the video she commented on up top somewhere in case you want to watch that video. It is a hijab tutorial that I did some time ago. So Miss Shy, please forgive me for being late. I am late, but I am here. I hope I'm not too late. I did intend to answer your question earlier on, but life has been lifing. And I have a bit of a break and a breather now. I am revamping and restarting up my YouTube channel again, so I figured this would be the perfect first I'm back video. All right, so as I said, the answer is yes, locks are absolutely permissible, and I am speaking from someone who has had locks, and I also have experience doing natural hair for a multitude of women. I am not actively a hairstylist, but I have been, and like I said, I have a lot of years of experience. My clients have had natural hair, afros, locks, braids. They have been Muslim as well as non-Muslim, and I had locks myself for about 11 or 12 years, somewhere around there. Let's just say almost 12 years to round it up. But I took mine out, and I can explain a little later in the video why I decided to do that. But first and foremost, we do want to touch on permissibility. So especially as a new Muslim, as you're coming into this deen, and welcome to this beautiful deen. I am so happy that Allah has guided you to this path, and I pray that it is as easy for you as possible, and even when the difficulties do come, that it does not deter you. It is the most amazing gift, in my humble opinion, that anyone can have in this life, Islam. So let's talk about permissibility. A lot of times when we first come into Islam, if I remember when I first came into Islam, which was October 2008, I just wanted to have all of the information right away. I was ready to eat everything up. The thing with that is you definitely want to make sure that you are doing your own research, as you are now, asking questions, listening to other people, reading the Qur'an. Most definitely, first and foremost, praying and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide your heart to what is right and correct and most pleasing to Him, because you are going to have a lot of people with a lot of opinions, okay? Some will be based on fact, and some will simply be based on what they feel and or what they think. So when it comes to permissibility, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it 100% clear the things that are absolutely impermissible. These are the things that fall into the realm of being haram, are the things that are sinful, the things that there's no wiggle room for. We absolutely should not be doing certain things. That's impermissible. And then you have some things that fall into being makruh, meaning frowned upon or disliked or strongly disliked. It's not a sin, but it might be better if we don't. And then you have the things that are completely permissible. Allah even loves some of these things. We get reward and benefit for some of these things. These things are 100% yes, a go, right? So when it comes to locks, locks do not fall into being haram or impermissible, meaning it is not a sin for us to lock our hair, right? Some people say that it falls into being makruh, but I want to really dig into that because I don't agree. I feel that locks are completely permissible. Do I feel that we'll get reward for doing it? I don't know, but I feel that they are completely permissible. I feel that some of the people that are saying that they are makruh, frowned upon, or even 100% not permissible, people have to be very, very careful in saying that an act, a thing, or a behavior is impermissible or is haram when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not made it haram. That in and of itself is not permissible, okay? So I think that some of the people that are saying that it's makruh, they may not be familiar with the plight of natural, kinky, coily, textured, thick, not always easy to manage hair. They may be thinking along the lines of, maybe they don't even realize that people have different textures of hair, and that some of us, some women like myself, have to go through various lengths to keep our hair well maintained. So when you think along those lines, there's absolutely no way we should be saying that a hairstyle that is completely natural is impermissible or makruh without proper proof. So now let's talk about proof. When it comes to how we have to wash our hair, for example, if you're married and you make love to your husband, you have to do ghusl, which is a full body ablution, including letting the water touch your scalp. If you have your menstrual cycle and it's over and you're returning back to salah or prayer, you have to also do ghusl. After having a baby, and we could go on and on. When it comes to us having to do ghusl at certain times, the requirement is that the water touches the scalp. As long as there is nothing that prevents water from touching the scalp, then that hairstyle is permissible so far. If a woman has additional hair in her head, let's say from an animal or from another human being, any type of extensions, that is not allowed. So having that would be something that may invalidate your wudu or your ghusl. When it comes to wudu, we are to make sure we wash over our heads, right? Ghusl is more in-depth because Allah made it so. It's supposed to be that way. But my point is, with having locks, it does not, the type of locks that I've had and the type of locks that I have maintained for other women does not prevent water from touching the scalp, right? Even if you have to just open up and make sure that it gets in there, whatever you have to do. But locks without any type of a barrier or any type of artificial hair that prevents water from touching your scalp, how can that not be permissible? And I'm not saying this towards the commenter. I'm saying this more so towards the people that I have encountered that are so staunch in saying that locks are impermissible. I think one of the reasons that, well, another reason that some of them say that is because they say, oh, well, our hairstyles or our way of dress should not imitate non-believers or people that believe differently than we do. So I've heard someone say that, oh, having dreadlocks is something that Rastafarians have. Excuse my wording, this is a very strong word, but respectfully, I feel that that was rooted in ignorance, because dreadlocks are not specific to just one group or one belief system or just one type of people. So as long as your hairstyle meets those main requirements, you are good to go. We can dye our hair if we choose to do so. We can style our hair. We can use grease and Vaseline and gel and all of these things if we so choose to do so. But when it comes down to, you know, wudu and ghusl, you just have to make sure that you are cleansing your hair properly and thoroughly. That is the requirement. Locks do not prevent water from touching the scalp. So you are good to go. Just make sure your wudu is good. Make sure your ghusl is good whenever you have to do that, and you're all good to go. Now I want to talk to y'all about why I decided to get rid of my locks, right? After having them for over a decade. I absolutely loved my hair, absolutely loved my hair. And maybe in the future, I might lock it up again. I locked my own hair and I maintained my hair for over a decade. And I came to a point where I simply was no longer comfortable with my locks, being that locks are formed because your hair that's attached to your scalp is intertwined and locked in with hair that has already shed. So this is why when people have locks for a while, they tend to get very long and they also tend to get very heavy. If the person did not have locks, a lot of the hair that's intertwined in the lock itself would have just naturally shed off and gone away, right? So after having locks for that long, mine had gotten to a length to where when I would sit down, I was starting to sit on the tips of my locks. And what this would do is when I would wrap it up, I would either have to have it wrapped up really high in a turban type of head wrap style. If you go back and look at some of my older videos and old pictures and stuff like that on the internet, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I would have to like either put it up on top of my head, or if I wanted a semi-flat look, I would have to like try to bun it around in the back of my head. And having that much hair, it was so long and so thick, it just became a bit much for me. And I started to feel it in my neck, and it was just a lot. When I would have to wet it or wash it, it would take forever for it to dry. And let's say, for example, if I had to leave out of the house and run to the store or something like that, I would have to wrap my hair up while it was still damp, and it was even heavier while it was damp. So it was just a bit much for me. So that, along with my late husband, may Allah forgive him and grant him paradise, along with him passing and me just going through some spiritual changes, I was also no longer comfortable with having anything dead attached to me. So as I just explained, locks are living hair and dead hair. And I just got to the point where I was like, I don't want to be carrying around dead hair with me. And I know that that may sound a little bit heavy, but that's what it is, right? So a lot of my length was because the hair had just stacked on top of itself. And then another problem that I started to have was lint. So when you have a certain length of locks, you can attract more lint. That's almost a tongue twister. So even though I would cover it up, there were times where I didn't want to cover it up, right? Especially being a Muslim woman and having to always cover your hair in public, or even if you're in private and taking a picture or doing a video or something like that. There were just times when I was at home and I didn't want to cover it. But when I didn't cover it, then I'm more susceptible to getting lint in my hair. So then once it's so long and I was able to kind of pull it around and look at it, I was seeing the little pieces of lint and going through and trying to pick that out was something that I didn't want to do. Also, people would say you can go and you can dye it. I didn't want to dye it because that's not getting rid of the lint. It's just changing it to a different color. So all in all, I decided to chop them short. So I went from kind of like mid of my buttocks, and I chopped them maybe to right here. It was significant. So I chopped them, and for a while I just had them short, like in this little like layered bob style. It was so cute, absolutely loved it. But that was me getting myself comfortable with having my hair back loose and shorter than what it had been in years. So from chopping it, I then individually, y'all, this probably took me a year, I'm not kidding, if not more, because I just went little by little. I individually unlocked the locks. Just imagine, over a decade of locks, it was a lot of work. So I would like do a section, undo it, and maybe twist it or braid it up, and then I would just have it in like a ponytail. And of course I was wearing, you know, hijab, and nobody could see it. So it was okay for a while. But I say all that just to explain my reasonings for getting rid of my locks, and to make other people aware that if you keep them for a matter of years, you may run into similar struggles, right? Another struggle that I had was just finding styles, right? People are sometimes judgmental, and people that are not versed in ethnic, or, well, not ethnic, I should say, who are not versed in coily, kinky, thick, sometimes coarse hair not just black hair, because it's not just black people that have this type of hair, but people that are not versed in this type of hair can sometimes be very judgmental, right? You may be around another group of Muslim women and you're the only one that has locks that are so long, so you're definitely going to have some type of a hump or some type of a something underneath your scarf, right? And sometimes people will just assume that you have something artificial under there, and it's like, nope, this is 100% my hair, mashallah. So sometimes the judgment can be a bit off-putting. They simply don't know. They don't know. So any sister who has locks, or if you're considering getting locks, use that as an opportunity to educate others if they are ever judgmental and if they are outspoken about it or say something to you. Just lovingly, politely educate them and let them know that your hair defies gravity, mashallah, and it is a certain texture and a certain length. And if anyone is wondering right now, this is a hat I have on. I might look funny without this. I hope my scarf is good. Let me see. Okay, we're good. So this is just a hat I have on, but y'all, right now I just have my hair in braids, okay? So I wanted to mention that for any sisters who have natural hair and may be looking for alternatives. Maybe you don't want locks, maybe you're not quite ready to get locks. You can definitely do individual braids and or twists with your own hair. And a style that I absolutely love and fully recommend is a half and half, as I call it, where you would kind of go from your front edges to about halfway, and you can braid it into a cute style or twist it down into a cute style, and then the back you could have individual braids or individual twists. This is what I have now, and I absolutely love it because it's very, very versatile. Whenever I want it to lay flat, as you can see, I can absolutely do that. I have it braided down, and you can barely tell that I have, mashallah, as much hair as I do, because I have the braids braided like into like a cornrow at the back, and then I have it tucked. So when I don't have it like that, I can take it out, I can put it into a cute little bun on top of my head if I'm walking around the house with some big cute hoop earrings, right? I can actually just let it lay flat and still put on my hijab. So this is a very, very good style for anyone who is looking for something that they can do with their natural hair while still being cute when you don't have your hijab on, okay? Ladies, I definitely want to advise you, lastly here, not to steer into anything that we should not be doing. Something that I've seen here recently is some of my sisters taking off their scarves, you know, and just kind of exposing themselves. And I know that we all have our struggles. I absolutely know that we all have our struggles, but keep the struggles private as much as you can, because you never know who's looking at your pictures or who's looking at your videos and who you may accidentally be influencing to do the wrong thing. So anyone who's struggling with wearing the scarf and or dressing modestly, may Allah guide and help us all and make it easy on us. But sisters, be very, very careful. If you are aware that you're doing something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not approve of, do your very, very best not to just kind of put it in everybody's face, because you definitely want to cover your flaws and your faults as Allah covers them for us. So we should not expose them to others. So InshaaAllah ta'ala, may we do our best to remain covered as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be. And also, sisters, when it comes to adding hair, I know y'all, like I absolutely know y'all, I love my hat, so I'm putting it back on. I absolutely know that managing natural hair can sometimes just, oh my goodness, it can just be so much, right? And just getting those, you know, individual braids with the extensions or some type of hairstyle that is protective, sometimes that is a lot easier for us. But we absolutely have to remember that as Muslim women, if you are practicing, and if you're not, may Allah guide you back, but as practicing Muslim women, we definitely want to do our best to adhere to the rules and regulations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set forth for us. Okay, so may Allah make it easy on us. Any other questions, I am happy to answer. I am, as you can see, by no means a scholar. I am just an African-American woman who is also Muslim, and I have been practicing since 2008, so I have some experience. So my lovelies, that is it for now. I hope I was able to say something that was beneficial to whoever might be listening and or watching. I am so open to talking about topics like this as it relates to Muslim women as well as non-Muslim women. These types of questions and topics excite me, hence me making a video response to Miss Shy. So thank you so much for your question, and I definitely appreciate your patience with me as it took forever for me to get this video out, but I do hope that it was helpful. All right, my lovelies, that's all for now. Peace, blessings, love, and light. God be with you. Bye.